Hey guys, welcome to week number 2 in Principles of Management. Excited to see you guys doing a great job in regards to our first week. So obviously the first week went by pretty quickly, as you noticed. So we're in the second week. So let me put this in perspective for you. We are 5 weeks away towards the end of the semester. So a couple things I want to address. I want to make sure I am fair with everybody and clear with everyone. So, first and foremost, as you know, based on our previous discussion, I don't accept late work, and that's done on purpose. Two reasons. One, this is an accelerated class. So if you try to do 2 weeks in 1 week, you're really not going to do a good job in any of those weeks. So I found that in my experience, it's better to tell the student to move on. The structure of the class and how you're getting graded. One assignment, it's not going to really devastate you. One discussion will. So that being said, here's what I'll do. I do not accept late McGraw-Hill assignments. So the test, the Learn Smart, which you have to do, the Learn Smarts, the quizzes, all of that I will not accept as a late assignment, but I will accept any late discussion. So if you go back and you do a discussion, I'll give you partial credit for that. That is not an excuse not to do your discussions on a weekly basis, guys, because that is a lot of points. Your discussions are a lot of points. So number two, I do not accept one sentence replies or posts. If you're giving me a one sentence, yes, I agree with you type of reply, you will not get credit for that. I'll count it as it's not existent. This is a discussion, not a one liner. So this is the only way I get to see if you're understanding the material. That's why I put so much weight on it. Please don't just ignore it like in other classes. I put more weight on your discussion than anything else, including your final and midterm. So your discussion has to have some actual content. Now, I don't put a minimum word because I think you're not kids, you're grown-ups, you're in college, you're in a business class. Please make sure that you're practicing good business practices, which means treat each other as professionals. Treat me as a professional peer. Treat me as you would treat someone in a professional environment. So there is no word minimum, but there is a content minimum. You'll have to speak educatedly in regards to the topic that we're discussing. If you're just putting some random stuff up there or trying to find something on the internet and copying and pasting it, first you're going to get caught by plagiarism and be kicked out of the class. Number two, you're not going to get a grade here because I'm not going to give a grade for that. Your discussions are extremely important to me. So that said and out the way, here's the expectation for this week's discussion. Of course, as you know, you will have to put your own discussion. You have to reply to two students, classmates, and this post, my weekly post. This week in your chapters, you're going to have two chapters as normal, chapter 3 and chapter 4. We're not going in order, so don't follow that pattern. I'm sorry, we are going in order. So in this class, you're going to go chapter 3 and chapter 4. The first one, we're going to talk about the macro environment, right, of business. We're going to look at the environment, the organization of business and its 5 elements, 5 components to an organized or an organizational competitive environment. So a business does not exist on its own. A business needs its environment. You'll see next week we'll talk about creating a SWOT analysis, but keep that in mind because no business exists on its own. If I wanted to start and I use this example because it's easy for me, if I wanted to start a business in this area, what type of business would I start? What does this area have or need something of? If I said I'm going to start another Mexican restaurant, how many Mexican restaurants do you think exist in the external environment? How much competition is there? What different thing do you have to offer a community if it's just another taco, if it's just another thing? Unless you have something unique to offer, why would people go to you? Is your price cheaper? Are you the cheapest taco in town? And why would I want that? What is it that you're offering this environment that's any different than everyone else? So when you start a business, that's what you have to ask yourself. Now, people also have told me, Mr. Argueta, I want to start a Western fashion store. Great. Is that needed in this area? Do you see a lot of people wearing that type of clothes or stuff? Is that something that's needed? I want to start a coffee shop. Well, what are you offering any different than your competitors? What are you offering any different from Starbucks or anything else? I go to a coffee shop here in town called Casa de Cafe, which is House of Coffee. And they're just a nice little environment in Dalton. They offer standard coffee, but they have a little pastries here and there, and it's a pretty popular spot. But if another coffee shop opens up, what do they have different now? Because now people know that this place offers that. I also visit a place called Green Door or Harmony House. I think it's the other word or the other name for it, but it's over by the Oakwood Cafe. It's this tiny, tiny little shop. Now, they offer a lot of gluten-free options. My wife is gluten-free, so we enjoy going there and getting gluten-free pastries, and they have a good coffee. But they also offer, and I'm not condoning this, but they also offer adult beverages in the coffee. By adult, I mean liquor, and I'm not saying you should go there to drink that. I'm just saying this is the unique offering that they have that Casa de Cafe doesn't have. So if a person was interested in a Irish coffee, then you would go there. You wouldn't go to Casa de Cafe because Casa de Cafe does not have adult beverages in their coffees. So they have all these mixture of things. So unless you have something unique to offer, another coffee shop is not going to be as successful. So that's what we're talking about. We're also talking about how you make decisions. So decision making is very interesting to me because, as I've mentioned before, I pastored for 10 years here in Calhoun, but I also have been in ministry for over 25 years. So most of my adult life, I've served in some capacity within a ministry. So this next topic is very close to my heart, is ethics and how you view the world, how you see the world. And now, I don't want you to fall into the trap to think that ethics equals right or wrong. It equals your view of right or wrong. And a lot of people have these issues that they struggle with, right? And saying, why does someone make a decision that way? And you should do it this way. Well, that's an ethical perspective. And you're going to study in chapter 4 the different ethical perspectives. And what I want you to do is tell me yours, identify your ethical perspective. Now, some people will say, well, I only obey what the Bible says or what God says. Well, that's wonderful. That's an ethical perspective. I respect that. And what I'm trying to say here is you also have to look at someone else's point of view. And although you may agree or disagree with that perspective, you have to acknowledge, validate that that person has a reason to believe that. So here's the question for you to ponder. Okay, you're on a train. You're the conductor of this train, and you have to go left or right, and your brakes are no longer working. You have to make a decision. You cannot avoid this decision. And this is where people get a little nervous at, but this is what makes you think about why you make the decisions you do. If you go left, you're going to kill a kid. You have to go left or right. If you go left, you kill one child. If you go right, you kill 10 adults. Which direction will you go? Would you kill a child or would you kill an adult? Here's what I want you to do is think through that process. Why would you conclude you make one of those turns? Why would you turn left? Why would you turn right? Right? Here's another question to ask you, and I want you to think and ponder. Is it ever okay to lie? In your ethical perspective, is there a reason why you think lying is okay? And now some of my believers, if I can use that word freely, if some of those people who have a deontological perspective means that you believe that there is a higher power dictating everything that's right or wrong. The deontological thinkers, the word deontology comes from the word Dio, D-E-O, which is a Latin word. The Spanish culture has translated that word to Dios, which is God. If you have a view of a higher power dictating, then you're going to say, no, it's never okay to lie. Lying is bad. And I respect that. I understand why you think that. And I'm not sharing my perspective till next week, but your perspective is valid. You have a reason for that. But I want you to answer this question for me. If it's never okay to lie, why then in the Bible, in the Judeo-Christian Bible, there's a story where a lady lied to protect the spies and she was blessed for lying. Second of all, do you ever lie? For example, do you tell your children that Santa Claus is real? Do you do it? Why? Why do you think that's okay? And when is it okay to lie? When do you think, based on your ethical views, no, this is okay. I should lie about the tooth fairy. I should lie about the Easter bunny. I should lie about Santa Claus. I should lie about those things. It's fine to lie about that, but it's not okay to lie about this. Like, when is it okay to lie? All right, so I'm excited. The last one I want to talk to you about is utilitarianism. This ethical system is the greater good for the greatest number of people. Another way to look at this perspective is the end result justifies what you had to do to get there. Here's a good one that's debated all the time around us. You see a person that is starving, right? Or let's put it to you. I don't want to put it on someone else. Let's put it to you. If you're in a bad situation, very, very bad situation, you're starving, and your child is starving, would you steal, well, let's use a perfect example today, eggs to feed your children? You had no other way to get this food. You had no other way to feed them. Let's make this a little more extreme. If your loved one, I wish this on no one, but if your loved one was sick and hurting and dying, and there is a way to save them, but there was no other way to do it but to steal some medicine from the pharmacy, would you, to save the life of a person you love, steal? Even though you know stealing is against the law, you know stealing is wrong, it's unethical, would you do it? And why? Utilitarianism states that the end result, the end outcome, is justified by what you had to do to get there. I'll be transparent to you. As I mentioned, I was the firstborn American in my family. My family is now a U.S. citizens because I was born in America in the 1970s, mid-1970s, 1976. But my father and mother came to this country illegally, right? And I'm being transparent with you. I'm being honest with you. But they used the utilitarian perspective to justify that action. They left their country that was in poverty, impoverished, to give their family a better life. Today, I am in the means of my world, a successful person. I've done well. I've gotten a good education. I live a comfortable life. I'm proud of what my parents have done, but they had to make a tough decision to leave their country, their family, to come here to give us that illegally. So that's a utilitarian perspective. The end result, to see their child succeed, was worth that because they said, it's worth it. If my children have a better life than I did, then the end result will justify what we did to get there. And that's tough. And I'm not telling you to forgive them for that. I'm just telling you to look at that perspective and understand it from a business world. All right, guys, that's about it. It's raining today. It's cruddy. Quick coffee break. That's what I'm drinking today. It's Café Bustelo. It's a Caribbean blend from Cuba and Puerto Rico. Delicious. I encourage you to try it. Talk to you soon, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. It's great to hear all your stories. I'm reading your posts, and I love them. Take care.